the difference between Euro and Afro? African, European, Euro and Afro. The difference between the conscious and subconscious mind. You have markers? Not, no problem. What is the question number 4, right? What is the difference between Euro and Afro? Question number 5. How does nationality birthright, how does nationality birthright relate to having a long, prosperous life? I thought that was the best question. That was a spot-on question, excellent question. Right? And that's the question, you know, for all our people. You know, how we can benefit from this? What is it? Can nationality birthright? How does nationality birthright tie to having a long and prosperous life?
That was question 3.
Question number 5. That's your last question.
Question 3.
The difference between the subconscious and conscious mind. All right. So it came up as I was discussing answering one of the questions, because he asked me about, you know, the issue relating to, you know, government coming after, you know, people like myself. How would I address that? You know, so I brought up what he really meant to say. You know, I said, are you saying that how do I address, you know, issues of those who are claiming to be government officials? How do I address they're calling me a terrorist or paper terrorist or anti-government? How do I address that issue? All right. And I said, 1, I would file a federal lawsuit for defamation of character. United Nations Declaration of the Rights of the Child, 1979. United Nations Human Rights Proclamation, 1948. The United Nations Rights of the Indigenous People. The European colonial states have a right to protect our right to owning land, the right to travel, to practice our culture. Those are obligations. So I have proclaimed my Moorish nationality on public record. So now let's look at that question.
How do we do that?
All right, I'm gonna go into that. But let me go into my my spiel here. Are Moors paper terrorists? Are Moors terrorists? Are Moors anti-government? All right. Are Moors, am I trying to overthrow the government? In my book, Moors and Masonry. Is Taj trying to overthrow the government? All right. Does everyone have a Federal Reserve note, a 1 note? You don't know what a 1 note is? Ask me.
It's a dollar bill, right?
Well, there's no such thing as a dollar bill. Why did I say that?
Wow.
We got to learn language now. Language is key.
Not backed by anything.
All right. Well, the term is dollar bill. He said dollar bill. What is a dollar bill? I want you to analyze the term. I want you dollar and bill. What is a dollar? What is a bill? What's a dollar? We want to know.
Currency.
All right. Okay, so we want to define the word dollar. The word dollar comes from the German word Drachenstaller. It's a silver coin. Staller, Drachenstahl, is a place in Bohemia where the silver was mined to mint the coin. Silver coin. So you have a bill, it's short for bill of exchange, i.e. a commercial paper. Commercial paper, all right? Give me the bill. You have a bill? Let me see the bill, all right? This is a bill, all right? This is commercial paper. All right, you have in the laws of commerce, under commercial law, you have a term called bill of exchange. A driver license is a bill of exchange. Birth certificate is a bill of exchange or commercial paper. Marriage certificate, a bill of exchange or commercial paper. This is commercial paper or bill of exchange. It's not a dollar bill, dollar, silver, or gold coin, bill of exchange, commercial paper. All right? We've been groomed into colorable thinking, colorable paradigms, colorable language. And this colorable paradigm and colorable language creates a corporate status and a colorable jurisdiction. So they do that through language. They gain jurisdiction, all right, by setting the bar so that you can establish a lawful or illegitimate status and colorable corporate jurisdiction. All right? So this is not a dollar bill. This is a note or bill of exchange. A note is a promise to pay debt. This is a debt. I mean, like a car note. Let's think of a car note. A car note. All right? A car note is your debt. The debt that you owe. Well, that's what this is. It's a debt. This represents debt. This doesn't represent true wealth. All right? So be clear on that. I want you to look at the symbols here. Are Moors paper terrorists? Are Moors anti-government? Are Moors terrorists? Are Moors trying to overthrow the government? All right? Let's look at the last one first. Are Moors trying to overthrow the government? One, the Moorish government, the government has already been overthrown. The Europeans, occupiers of our land, who operate an occupational European government called the United States, has overthrown the Moorish government. This is the symbol of the government. This is the national seal, national government seal. The national government seal of the government. Barack Obama does not speak under the national government seal of the government. That's the occupational European government. That's not the seal. This is not the seal. Barack Obama has never spoken under. George Bush. You didn't see George Bush. You didn't see Ronald Reagan. You didn't see Ford. You didn't see Carter. You didn't see Nixon. You didn't see Johnson. You didn't see both Bushes. You didn't see them speak under the government seal. They spoke under this in public?
No.
You saw them speak under this in public?
No.
And that's clear. We're going to clear up this issue. Moors paper terrorists, anti-government. All right, trying to overthrow the government because it's out there. Let's address it. We're going to continue to address it. All right?
Bring it closer to the...
Yes. So they've never spoken under the government seal in public. And the lodge they do. In the lodge, they have it on the Moorish apron. They're all seeing eye on the Moorish apron. So they know about the government seal, all right? The government seal is in federal buildings. William Green Federal District Building, 5th and Arch Street, opposite the tax office. The government seal and the occupational government seal are on the wall opposite the tax office at the William Green Federal District Building. So we're going to be very clear on what is the government. Because we've been conditioned to call this the government. The Europeans have occupied our land. They have colonized and occupied our land and taught us a false history in the schools. And so we based our activity, our discussion, our foundation on a false history. And we've been calling them the government. So we got to be clear on that. So once you're clear on that, then you'll know that Moors aren't anti-government. That Moors aren't trying to overthrow the government. Moors are doing Drew Ali's work that he set up, that he began in 1913 to restore the government that the Europeans overthrew. We're not trying to overthrow the government. It's already been overthrown. We're restoring it. This is what this Moorish Divine National Movement and Noble Drew Ali is all about. Well, it's a process. It's a process to restore the government, the Moorish government. That process is beginning in 1913. Ali had to call us to national attention. So we had to create the process of nationalizing us. But we can't, because you can't be called to national attention as Negro, color, black, because you're property. Property, there's no sovereign power, no sovereign authority, self-rule in property. By law, you are owned by the European colonists, by law. You are their property. Now, so Ali knew that. He understood law, both national and international law. The Europeans put their names on us as a designation of ownership. Our people haven't been taught national and international law, haven't been taught the principles of birthright and inheritance, how name, birthright, nationality, and heritage are connected. French names, Irish names, Chinese names, Japanese names, English names, German names. Our people transact business in German, French, Irish, Scottish, English names. But since we have been taught our history and nationality and sovereignty principles, we think that, well, that was 200 years ago, all right, we're free now. We don't know what freedom is. We don't know what constitutes freedom. Because somebody says you're free. But yet, we still bear their names. Walk with me, y'all. They put their names on us as a designation of ownership. It means that today, December 21st, 2012, that meaning never changed. See, they're playing us. They know that we don't know law. They know that we don't know the principles of nationality, sovereignty, birthright. The Moorish Divine National Movement and Ali, with the teachings, will lead our people out of slavery, connotatively speaking, and into freedom. It must be done with the knowledge and understanding of nationality principles, national sovereignty principles. All right? So, Moors, Moorish terrorists. All right? That goes with, same with Moors trying to overthrow the government. All right? So are we terrorists? We are aboriginal indigenous people to this land. And we are the true freeholders of this land. So of course we're not terrorists in our own land. The United States, once again, is an occupational European colonial government and is not the legitimate government. Barack Obama does not speak under the national legitimate government seal. He speaks on the occupational government seal. So we need to be clear on that. Right? I wish I had some markers, but that's all right. Any questions before I go on? Any questions before I excuse me, no problem. Any questions, comments before I go on? So be clear on this. Yes.
Alright, he's saying that what you said is that note or that bill is an illusion, basically.
Well, no, I didn't say it's an illusion. It
holds no value for
no,
her, for real.
But it represents what exactly, it represents debt. Okay. All right. See what's done was those Europeans who hold our sovereignty, Moorish sovereignty, has sold Moorish sovereignty to international bankers. So in exchange for that, the international bankers have collateral the people and their property. And this is what the mortgage is about, which that note is about, is all connected. Birth certificate, which is actually, birth certificate, we've been conditioned to view that birth certificate as a record of our birth.
No.
The birth certificate is a bond instrument. It's on bond paper. It's a bond, and what the hospital does is they send that to the Department of Vital Statistics, and what they do is they get a certain amount of finance for each one of us. I mean, they will put tremendous pressure on you to sign those records, because they need the bond. In order for them to generate finance, they need the bond, because they get about 20,000 or so per bond, per application. That the hospital, that process begins in the hospital. All right.
So how do we come from? How do we come up from under that?
Doing what you're doing right now. Brother, the process is you have already begun the process. All right. It's not look at something that's so far-reaching. You begun the process by being here right now. So the process begins with education, because you can't address, color of law activities with a lack of education. So it begins with education. I'm not trying to be so simplistic about it, but you have begun the process.
Okay.
All right. Another question. Comments. I've been doing this for quite some time, and that's why I stop and ask questions, because a lot of times people will have questions, and I want to be able to address your particular questions.
Okay, I have a child that's due to be born this month.
All right.
How do I claim my child as my child?
All right.
And not let them have my child.
You have to publicly declare your nationality and put your nationality and legal status on record. See, right now they have you listed as black.
Okay.
In the United States Census, question number 9 in the United States Census is, what is your race? They have black, white, black / African American, African American was put in the census in 1990. The first time African American appeared in the United States Census was in 1990. All right, and they put Negro back in the 2010 census. So now black / African American / Negro. All right, Negro was put in the 1960 census and was put back there in the 2010 census. And then below that, they have there's a box, a set of boxes separating nationalities: Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, but those aren't races.
Yeah.
So actually, those choices, Filipino, Chinese.
None of them apply to us.
No. Hear me out. They don't apply to the question.
Okay.
The question is, what is your race? Chinese is not a race. That's a nationality. Japanese is not a race.
It's a nationality.
Mexican is not a race.
It's a nationality.
So they put these categories, these listings under the question. Question number 9, what is your nationality? Question number 9, we're going to talk about why 9, all right? That was the number 9. What is your nationality? All right? So nationality and race is not the same. All right? Chinese is not a race. Chinese is a nationality. So you have people question, well, what is your race? Well, you got Chinese as a choice. Well, Chinese is not a race. All right. So let's deal with the black and white. They use that. The Office of Management and Budget sets. What they've done was the occupational government, United States, has adopted the Carl Linnaeus classification system. Carl Linnaeus, who was a Swedish nationalist, developed the classification system that's used today in question number 9 in the United States Census. What he did was he developed a classification system to classified the human family based on complexion. Black, white, red, yellow, and his protege, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, developed, added a fifth class, brown. Argentine uses that classification system. That classification was done to suppress the true issues of Moorish sovereignty, the Moorish birthright issue, Moorish land claim issues, and also was done so that the Europeans can politically manipulate the classification system so that they can maintain European colonialism and European occupation of our land and other lands. Because you have, what happens is the Europeans are being reduced in numbers. And then so what they've done was expanded the definition of Caucasian race to include people who are light-skinned. So now people who are light-skinned will be included in the definition Caucasian race. They doing that. The Middle Eastern countries.
They come under them. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
North Africa countries, Middle Eastern countries come under.
It's like anything that says other comes under white. Because sometimes they'll have what you say, then they'll say other, but they
absolutely, and that's done politically.
For the count.
Exactly. Why? Why? Because their numbers are reducing. So they're politically and artificially increasing their numbers on paperwork so they can what? Maintain the voting power. Once again, whoever defines the language controls the issue. They came up with the classification system back in the mid-1750s, called the natives, and they maintained that classification system for their political advantage. They'll change the definition, expand it. So we're not playing that game. We're Moorish Americans. We're not playing the black-white game. That's for their political football, for their political advantage. All right. There's a case. Mustafa Hafni, an Egyptian. He was in Detroit. This was in 1977. In 1977, he filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court in Detroit. And what it was is he declared to be black on record. And they told the Office of Management and Budget and his job, he received a letter stating that he must change his classification from black to white since he's Egyptian and since Egypt is a Middle Eastern country, that's the letter, that he is classified as white and not black. So he sued to have his classification maintained as black. Well, one, he played to that game. But why did he do that? He did that because the white is classified as the majority status, and the black is classified as minority status. He did that so that he can get benefits. He sued because he was no longer able to get certain benefits. Because as I'm talking about what they're saying. This is what they're saying, this is why he sued. Because as white class, he was not seen as minority. So therefore he was not able to get certain college loans and grants. As the minority status, there's certain grants, that our people can get under that minority status. So he sued because of that. He sued, he was not able to get certain jobs that's classified as, there's certain jobs have to have a certain amount of minorities, all right, quotas, all right? He sued for that reason. Now, I mention that to say this. The Europeans have used that classification system for their political advantage. I'm going to address this issue in my book about Mustafa Hanif. And the reason why our people are doing that because they don't know that they have a nationality. The nationality issue is stronger, more powerful than the minority status. We have a birthright. So I know that he wanted to be classified as black so that he can receive. I mean, he knows that he's Egyptian. He knows that. But he wanted to be classified as black so that he can, you know, move forward in jobs and colleges and so forth. All right? But it is not towards our benefit to do so. But so we keep in mind that we have to push the nationality issue, because with the nationality issue comes the land, comes the sovereignty. But our people are not aware of that. All right. Question.
No, what you were saying.
Yes. No, he's first. I got it.
I work with an Egyptian. He told me on application he put down African American. And he told him he couldn't do it.
Exactly.
They told him he could not put down African American. He asked why.
All right.
He said, because Egypt is in Africa. He said, I am an American. So why can't I put African American? They wouldn't explain to him, but they told him he couldn't.
Yeah, he did, right. All right.
They told him he wasn't allowed to do it.
So what did they say he had to put?
I think he had the mark under other, which would classify it as right.
But I was asking about, well, because black is not the only minority. You have like Mexicans and all like that. If you want to get them the benefits as far as college grants or whatever. So now,
yes.
So a Mexican, he doesn't have to file under black. He files under his
nationality.
So you're saying that Egyptian is not considered like on the same as a minority, as far as when they file?
No, they're not. No. I explained that the Office of Management and Budget and the Census Department, all right, sets the classifications and definitions. They have defined those who are from Middle Eastern and North African countries fall under the white category. Hanif had to sue. He had to sue in district court. So for his class to remain as black. All right. I just brought that issue up because that's right. Right, came at the end of it because I found this case in November. I didn't even know that existed. This type of this. So I found it in December and I looked at it and it's in an article called "The New Caucasian Race." 8% white. All right. So the article is called "The New Caucasian Race" because what they've done was expanded the definition of the Caucasian race to include those who are light skinned and brown skinned. So they're using the complexion game again. All right. And so they did that to us so that they can expand their numbers politically. By expanding their numbers artificially, they will increase their voting power. And with the voting power comes what? Control of the economics. That's why it's done. Russia is losing 990,000 people a year through deaths. 990 a year. Not 9,090. 990,000 a year in Russia. That's staggering, bro. Their numbers are reducing. So I'm saying there's a political reason why they're doing it. So I'm gonna bring these issues out in my book, Moors and Masonry. All right? Yes.
So when you say that 900,000 a year, you talking
and
counting the birth?
Yes. And numbers.
Negative.
And numbers. Yeah,
so
negative.
They're negative.
Negative.
Their birth rate is negative.
Their birth rate is negative. So that continues, a period of 20 years, what happens?
They're gone.
So they're trying to artificially increase the numbers.
Because I heard that the Europeans, their birth rate is 0. One born, one die.
That's 0 birth rate. And you have 80,000 die of cancer a year. That's staggering. They don't have children like we have children.
Nah.
They're not having 5 or 6 children. And remember, Germany had a law that you only could have 1 child. Of course, they got to change that. You know? So they, see, as far as numbers are concerned, we're the majority. We're the majority as far as numbers. So they create that fiction or that illusion that they're the majority.
Is this the reason why, with like Cubans, they allow them to come in this country and classify them as white? And with the Haitians, they send them back.
Dominicans, all of those in South America are classified as white, based on complexion. Yes.
But this is not new. I mean, there was a time where you could only be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant to be classified as white. Then expanded if you were Irish, if you were Italian. We found that all of a sudden it's like, okay, they can follow the same political agendas. So Mexicans, the Spanish race.
See, we need to understand these words and their true cultural references so that we can ascend to the power. But the Europeans, so what we're doing is we're following with the Europeans' connotative references. So therefore, they maintain the power. That's through fear. Oh, Satan, devil gonna get you. God don't like ugly. Well, God ain't no, God is an action of mental processing, of activating or higher thinking, higher thought. Jew coming from Tahuti, Thoth, Dauti, deals with higher brain activity. So Jew is not a religion, Jew is not an ethnicity, Jew is not a body of people. Jew is the brain activity, higher brain functioning. So once again, they took the word Jew out of its ancient cultural reference and application. So we go, well, those Jews, no, I ain't know those Jews. No, Jew is brain activity, higher brain functioning, and how to activate that. You have Tahuti, the image of Tahuti with a scroll, right? And he's taken, so because you're dealing with communication, speaking, listening, reading, thinking. That's the word Jew. It's Dauti or Tahuti. Yahudi in Hebrew. Yahuti. That's the word Jew. So it applies to us. And Muslim deals with the anatomy of the body. You're looking at anatomy and geometry because the body is in perfect geometrical harmony with the universe. So by studying the anatomy or geometry of the body, you're studying the geometry of the universe. So once again, they took that word, Jew, Christian, coming from Sanskrit, Krishna is the sun, S-U-N, Jesus Christ, the sun. And they put the sun, they personified the sun into a man and put it on the cross. What that represents is the sun, the Lamb of God, denotes it's astronomy. The sun in Aries at the vernal equinox. So they personified the astronomy by putting a man on a cross and calling the man the Lamb of God. But it's actually astronomy. I wear that. I bought one of those. I bought one of those a few months ago, and I wear it every day. I forgot to wear it today. But the man on the cross. Because it doesn't denote a real man. They personify. They're using personification. When the Europeans have these images, all they did was they Europeanized ancient images. They didn't create anything. No. They simply Europeanized ancient images and artwork. But the artwork has a meaning. So you don't want to dismiss the artwork because there's Europeans in it. Well, explain where they got it from. Show the people the European artwork with Europeans, right, and show them the origin of the concept. It expresses a concept of universal law, of astronomy. But our people don't know that, so therefore, we don't have the power. But they know that, European Masons.
Well, as you were saying that, I couldn't help but
remember, I see the swastika right there.
That's ours too.
That's
But-
originally a religious symbol that they took and then turned that into something else.
Astronomy. All right? You have two directions. All right? You have two directions. This direction represents the regenerative aspect of nature. All right? So you're looking at, say, the death of the sun. All right? The skull and bones. Let me tie this to the cross bones in the skull. All right? Well, the skull and bones, organization called the skull and bones. They used to cross bones in the skull. With that, and they have a term called moriti, means death. The reason why they're focusing on the death, because that deals with the death of the sun. The sun is at its most southerly point, I said before, on December 21st. All right, and then the issue of black deals with Saturn. So they're still honoring nature. They're honoring the lowest point or most southerly point of the sun, the death of the sun. And then the sun hovers in the tomb for 3 days, and it begins to rise again. Skull and bones. Because you have that cross, there's astrology and astronomy, all right? The southern hemisphere, you have the winter solstice and the summer solstice. All right? Here, this denotes the regenerative power of nature. So death is the concept of the regenerative power. So now, here we go. The sun being at its lowest point, all right? Ending once, omega, ending one cycle, and what? Starting a new cycle. And then comes around again. Lowest point, a new cycle. And that new cycle begins, all right, sun being at its highest point on June 21st, the summer solstice. That's the sun at its highest, most northerly point. Sun on June 21st, and the most southerly point on December 21st. So that's opposites. Law opposites. It's all astronomy. They guys are free. So the other way, all right, the other way, when it's pointing this way, deals with the creative force in nature. So you have the regenerative force in nature, what people call death, all right, and the creative force in nature, the swastika, or the well-being, or the supreme being, the supreme being. Swastika means well-being or good being, the supreme being. Right in our face. Thank you for that, brother. All right. So one astronomy and geometry of it, that compass and square, so people can understand how to apply the compass and square and what that really means. It deals with the astronomy and geometry, and the geometry of your body, the geometry of sound waves, of frequencies. It all has a geometry, and you can measure it based on the knowledge of geometry. Pi 3.14. Phi 1.6 continues. All right, so that's phi. That's called the Fibonacci, or the golden mean, or golden section. You have the Vesica Pisces. The Vesica Pisces is two circles that are interconnected, and it forms the Vesica Pisces. What's called a
Figure eight.
No. The Vesica Pisces is like a the clitoris. The clitoris, the Vesica Pisces.
That has something to do with like
The
the
oval.
symbol.
Yes, two intersecting circles forming the Vesica Pisces. It's based on it's all geometry and astronomy. It's not. See, what they did was they're not teaching us the astronomy and geometry connected to these symbols. They're telling us that these symbols are evil.
Yep.
You know, Masonry, that's devil worship. I mean, they worship Saturn, Satan. You know, they're Satan worshipers. Satan is Saturn. The judge wears the black, because that's justice. Saturn deals with the planet that deals with justice. This talk the science.
Right. Like.
See, they suppress the science, so that we're just using the word connotatively.
Right.
All right, we're not using the word in its ancient perspective. All right, Satan
Friday the 13th.
What's for you about Friday the 13th?
I mean, I know that, like you said, just the mystical thing of
Right, but
the
what-
devil.
But what do you know about
I'm
it?
just, look, I
Let's
just
talk.
know that.
Let's talk.
A little bit though. I can't even. I don't know if I can put it into words.
Before I start talking, I want to know what you know. That's all.
No, just a little bit about the numerology of 13 and just a little bit.
What
Just-
about the 13?
Is that
No, let
him go, because I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could verbally explain.
Let's talk. Let's talk. You might know more than you know. Before I start talking, you know.
No, I'll let you go. I just know that.
You said numerology. You on the path. You on the path.
Energy.
13. What does 13 denote?
That's why I'm giving the
13,
floor
all right.
back to you.
All right. Friday the 13th is negative. I'm not talking. All right. When I say negative, I'm talking about negative ion. You have a battery. You have the negative ion and the negative pole and your positive pole. The males know what I'm talking about. Negative pole and your positive pole. All right. Well, the woman is the negative pole, so you're negative. Negative ion, negative charge, negative charge, devil, negative charge, positive charge. All right.
Right.
So you're negative. You're the negative charge. All right. So Friday the 13th is negative charge, applying to the woman. All right. The 13 denotes the 13 moon cycles. Every 28 days, you what? Every 28 days, the word menses is comes from the word moon. The word month is derived from the word moon. All right. Friday is the planet Venus. In Latin, it's Viernes Dies, day of Venus. And Venus is the planet of fertility, fecundity.
Right.
All right. So you're looking at the fertility, the fertile moon, and the fertile Venus. What the Europeans did was apply a distorted, connotated meaning to it. The word sin in Sumerian is Sinana. That's the Sumerian name of the moon. Sin, Nana. So they apply, and then in the distorted translation of the Bible, they said in Genesis that the cause of that Eve, when was tempted, the serpent tempted Eve to eat the apple. And Eve and the serpent is the cause of the world, what?
Sin.
See what they did? They did that to suppress the feminine energy in the public. Meanwhile, those Masons, European Masons, they study you, they honor you in secret because you're the power. You're the power. So don't you ever think that these European Masons are putting down women. They honor the woman in power because in order to rule, you must respect and honor the female energy because that's where the true power lies. They convince the masses. They push he, Allah, he, God, he, Father God, he. They push that to the public, but in secret. They honor you because you're the true power. They don't want you to ever know that. They don't push that he for themselves in secret. That's a fiction.
You referring to the great mother of the gods?
The feminine energy, that's the true power. You have the masculine and feminine energy duality, right? But as far as we have the more negative ions, pH. Let's look at this pH balance. You have your negative. The more negative you are, the more healthier you are. As far as your negative, your pH balance. Right? So you want to have more negative. You want to have more negative ions than you have positive ions. The positive ion is the man. The negative ion is the woman. The woman is negative ion, negative charge. All right? I'm speaking scientifically. I'm trying to demystify this word. The word Satan is tied, it comes from Satan. Set, Sut in Egyptian. It's Set or Sut or Satan or Saturn. And the reason why the priesthood and wear black, because they're giving honor to Saturn. During February, from September to February, the nights are longer. So that they wear black, representing the nights being longer. Those who wear white, the Ku Klux Klan, the Essenes, the Nazarenes, and the Great White Brotherhood wear the white garb, which is our stuff. They honor the sun. That's called the Solar Brotherhood, right? And you have the priesthood who wear the black. So you have one when the sun is, what they're doing is they're charting the path of the sun. Let's start with the summer solstice. The summer solstice is when the sun, which is June 21st, the sun is at its highest point, at its apex. There's 12 hours a day and 12 hours, that's equinox. There's more daylight. And then now the sun is at its most northerly point. Now it begins to what? Descend. All right? Descend. And then it gets down to September 23rd, which is the autumnal equinox. Now it's equal day, 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. And the sun is continuing to ascend, to descend, get lower, until it reaches its most southerly point on December 21st. Now the sun is elevated at its most southerly point. Then it hovers for 3 days, December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Jesus in the tomb, Jesus, S-U-N, deriving from Yah, or I-O in Phoenician, is sun. So the sun is in the tomb for 3 days, hovers for 3 days, and begins to what? Rise again from the dead, and begins to what? Ascend. And now the days will get longer, and longer, and longer. That's the path of the sun. And then it reaches the vernal equinox on March 21st. Now the equal day, 12 hours of sunlight, and 12 hours a day. So there's what we did, we had societies that gave honor to the sun and gave honor to Satan or Saturn. And we wore black, those who honored the sun being below the horizon from September to February wore black. And those who gave honor to the sun being above the horizon wore white, i.e. the Ku Klux Klan. That's our stuff. The Ku Klux Klan wears our stuff, and then what? The headdress is what? In the pyramid, right? The pineal gland. Right in your face, and they scare us with it. Our people are afraid of that. Why? Because they lynched us wearing that. They lynched us wearing our stuff. Our people are afraid of their own stuff. They're afraid of their own garb because the Ku Klux Klan lied to us. The Europeans distorted the history and meaning of the garb. So if I wore it, my people will kill me. And if I wore that right now, my own people will kill me. Am I lying, y'all?
It's the truth.
Will I be able to get out of this community with that on? I lied. I will leave. In a body bag. No, be real.
Seriously, right.
I will leave this community in a body bag. There's no way in the world I would walk out of this room, out of this building with that on, with our stuff on. So I know that. I know that. I'm gonna still teach it though. It's ours. They punked us. They're wearing our stuff. This is ours, y'all. Ku Klux Klan take our garb off. This knowledge is power. This knowledge is power. They call me a nigger. Thank you. Damn, you said they call you a nigger. I know. And I said thank you. And I'll start teaching them what a nigger is. Now, watch their mouth drop. Now they can no longer use that word to hurt me.
Right.
Because their intention was to hurt me with the word. Their intention was to hurt me emotionally with the word. Now they know they can't hurt me with that word anymore. Now they don't have that power. That's the key. What they do is they use fear. They use fear because the fear suppresses the Kundalini energy. So they use fear to suppress the Kundalini energy. That's why they did it. In fact, this is distorted title. The title is distorted. These both words are related. These aren't antonyms. Because this what he's saying from niggers to God means from lower to, no, this is higher and this is higher. God coming from the Sanskrit, kurda means to invoke. So you're looking at higher brain functioning. Nigger, same thing. The Naga. So it ain't from niggers to God. Nigger and God on the same level. They're with higher brain functioning. But that's the connotated meaning, you know, nigger being low and God being high. No.
And this is all in the course you teach, right?
Etymology, yes. We're going to the etymology of the word, you know, and its true ancient cultural application of the word. That's why I wouldn't use this, you know, title in this word in this title. Because it's mythical devil. That's the law opposite.